of the Broad and Forever podcast. Here, I'm your host, as always, Shamus Clancy. I am joined by the great Alonzo Jones. Zo, what's up, my man?
What's up, bro?
Ooh,
Happy Thanksgiving Eve.
happy Thanksgiving Eve. Definitely my favorite day in my early 20s of the year. Less so now with work. Like after Sixers are on tonight, so I'll be doing some work.
Yeah,
But fun nonetheless.
yeah.
Have work tomorrow, but it should be a slow day. We're recording this around noon on Wednesday. If you're listening to this later on, should
The
be fun.
emails are already slowing down. Like a ton of out of offices are up. It should be a peaceful couple hours.
Yeah, good. So obviously, everyone watched on Tuesday night. Ben Simmons returned to Philadelphia. I was there as a media member at the highest possible seat in the Wells Fargo Center in the upper press box. I didn't get the lower press area treatment, unfortunately. I kind of like the view up there.
I saw your post. Or I saw your picture, and I was like, "Oh, they must have punted him to the roof."
I was nervous, so I posted a video on Twitter Tuesday night of me being there and Ben Simmons missing his second consecutive free throw in the third quarter to win everyone Chick-fil-A. And I want to be dead serious. I was nervous to post it because I thought people were going to send me that who's the wrestler Kane all the way up in the top of the rafters. I thought people were going to grill me for having the 900 level seats. Luckily, it didn't happen. But hey, better than paying to sit all the way up there.
Better than paying to sit there.
Yeah, it's actually nicer in the sense that you have more space. Bathroom is more easily accessible. Water, soda, coffee is more easily accessible too.
So, who else is up there?
People I don't really know, to be honest,
okay.
And that's not a slight on them. They probably don't know who I am either.
It could be like guys from like the it could be like Delco Times people and stuff like that.
Yeah, a lot of times it's kind of, and I don't mean random as a slight again, kind of more random national stuff. People from generic basketball publications that might not be considered super duper mainstream outlets. So you see people up there, some bloggers, and again, I don't use bloggers as slight as someone who was a blogger for like 10 fucking years. So it's sometimes people like that. It's usually people who aren't traditional beat writers at the bigger spots. Down there, like on the first level, it's like Kyle Neubeck and Philly Voice, obviously. Bodner, Rich Hoffman, Keith Pompey, Adam Aronson from the Ricky Sanchez.
Adam has a front row.
Yes, he has a good seat there. So it's usually that crew down there. But you're so tight together, and I'm like a bigger guy. And I'm like, you can't like get up and go to the bathroom in the middle of the game too, and everything.
I don't know if he has one now, but I know Spike used to have one. A media like credential for that like row. I don't think he keeps it, because he's
in New York now. Yeah,
his professional life is a little different now, but I think for a while he kept it, and he actually used to say this like the same thing as you. Like sometimes that like he would prefer to just sit in regular seats because it's a little crowded in that section. It's a tight squeeze all around.
Yeah, and I get it. Like I was up there for the Sweet 16 and Elite 8.
Yeah.
Back in March, which was an awesome experience. No one read the content we put out because it had nothing to do with like the Eagles. So no one read it, and it wasn't even really Philly specific, but it was a really cool experience. Got to go on the court with the GOAT Gipper Grove before the game. Took a squad pic of me with the Penn Quaker logo on the court, which was awesome.
What a fun time, man. I can't believe it's actually just a testament to how long your time at that job has been. That was in March.
I just started. I was there for less than a month when that all popped off. Went and bought a new sport coat on Macy's.com, like a Ralph Lauren sport coat to wear for it. I was decked out.
Like that was fucking dope, man. That was super cool to see. I thought it was a good visual, and it's a perfect intro for you into like what it actually is.
It was low stakes. It's not Philly specific too, but it's a super duper major event that fortunate to cover that a lot of people don't cover, things like that. And hopefully Philadelphia comes back soon. My boss Evan Macy and I, we always joke that we have to keep this job through 2026 with all of the events coming to the city for the 250th anniversary.
Whatever you do, don't do till after 2026.
I'm making big moves in 2027 for sure because it'll be. We have to assume it's officially the Phillies or have the All-Star game.
Yes.
The World Cup will be here. Not a huge soccer guy, but if you get, I mean, who can say they went to a World Cup game? Very few people. If I could get it could be one of those things where you get credentialed, but they don't give you a seat, and you have to like. Yeah. I'm working in my former season ticket holder seats at the link with the laptop out, hawking Miller Lights. So that'll be that, and I assume it's unofficial, but I would have to assume that the NBA and NHL All-Star games will be here. I'm a little iffy on the NBA one, given that the Sixers don't own that facility and it's not as much of a robust basketball location. It's a hockey arena. That's part of the issue we're talking about with the press area and it being where and that's fine. It was built that way that they don't own the stadium. I mean, Comcast formerly owned the Sixers, but they didn't care about them, and it seems like they might not care about the Flyers anymore either. That's a different discussion.
It's funny. I would say, shout out to our guy, Flyers goal scorer. By I think that they don't care about the Flyers right now, but
it's a shame because they were. I would say, I think you kind of have to grandfather Ed Snyder as the best Philadelphia owner, given bringing the hockey here and making it a presence right away. And it's funny now because they've been so kind of mediocrely shitty for the last like 10 years that they were very consistently the best team in the city from like 74 to 2004. Like there was a good 30-year period. They were the most consistently good team. I think the 1 year where they had the second pick and got JVR at that time, that was the first time they missed the playoffs in like 17 or 18 years or something crazy like that. They only won the first two cups, but I think they've made, besides when they won in 74 and 75, I think they made at least 4 other cups, maybe 5, which is pretty legit. Obviously you want to win and, no medals for valor and all that bullshit, just happy to be here, which really isn't. I don't think that's our vibe, really.
I think that's I think that's what also, at least the Flyers fans that I've spoken to, that's kind of like what tease them off the most, is that the fan base has become like, oh, at least they're playing hard type team.
Can't get complacent with bullshit like this.
Yeah, especially like think about not with the history like that. Like if it was a history of like a bunch of tryhards who people just gave a shit about, it'd be different. But like not for a team that had a 30-year streak of making the playoffs and like a 4-year streak of going to the Stanley Cup or whatever. Like you can't be like, oh, at least they play hard. Like, well, like that's bullshit. Like, it's not everyone wouldn't stand for that. And I think that you bring up a good point about the NBA All-Star game, which was my.
Did you go that year? I was a little too young.
I did go that year.
It was 2002 for people out there. The All-Star game was in Philly in 2002.
It was my junior year. And the reason we had it there, well, Comcast owned the Sixers still at that time. So
there's more brand synergy right there.
Right. So there was a lot more brand synergy. We had the NBA, we had fucking.
Well, you had 2 arenas there then, right? Because it would have been the Spectrum would have still been there.
We had the Spectrum as well. Right? So, and it was for all intents and purposes, like Allen Iverson drew literally everybody to Philly. Like
it's all Iverson.
The regular season before that, like the regular season during, everybody came here to watch him play. It was a no-brainer to have the All-Star game here. He was at the time one of the most exciting player in the league, and then one of the top 4 players in the league. Like that was just the star power that he had for those who just weren't old enough to remember that time.
It was Jordan's comeback year. It was his first year back too. Right. So you had an all-star team that had starting Iverson, and I got to look up the lineup now. We're down this rabbit hole. Maybe we'll get to Ben Simmons' return at some point. This is just yet another remember some guys podcast.
Remember, we're just going down the memory lane.
2002 NBA All-Star game. All right, I'm gonna pull up the lineups. I'm gonna get you to guess who the starters were if it comes up. So we have 5 starters in the Eastern Conference. Obviously, we said Iverson and Michael Jordan. Can you name the other 3?
Was Stephon Marbury?
No, but he made it.
So he didn't start.
And he was on, I think he might have been technically on the West that year.
He might have been on the West. Hold on.
Oh, he wasn't on it.
That might have been the year after then.
Yeah, he wasn't on there.
That might have been when it was in DC.
Yeah.
Hold on. Let me see if I can. Yeah, because 01 was in DC. So this would have been.
Yeah, he was on that team.
So would this have been? This would have been 02, right?
2002, yeah.
All right, here we go. All right, let me put my thinking cap on.
Right,
the East starters would have been.
You got the two guards.
All right, so AI and J, we got that. 02. It was Dikembe.
Yes. One should be like the most exciting player at the time. The other one's like, Vince Carter. That's Vince Carter. And the other one's a little more random.
And you know what? This is literally a shot in the dark. Antoine Walker.
Yes, it's Antoine. Just shimmying over there.
Dude, Antoine Walker.
And the bench that year was Ray Allen, Baron Davis, Jason Kidd, McGrady, Paul Pierce, Sharif Abdul-Rahim, Jermaine O'Neal, who I think is maybe historically a little underrated, Alonzo Mourning. And then the West that year, it was Steve Francis, Kobe, KG, Duncan, Shaq. And I think Shaq didn't start.
Yeah.
And he was hurt. And then Elton Brand replaced him on the team. And Chris Webber started in place of Shaq. And VC was hurt that year. And Jason Kidd started in VC's place. I think back in the day, I used to have on my laptop the 2002 Western Conference All-Star team as the background. It's pretty friggin' sick pick because the starting lineup has 4, I don't know, top 25 players ever, top 30, depending on where you put Garnett. And then, Dirk is a top 30 player.
Top 30 player, yeah.
Malone, pretty terrible human being, it seems, but probably top 30 player ever.
A fucking terrible person, yes.
And the Kings were my bandwagon team as a kid, so they had Peja and C. Webb on there, so obviously love that too. Future Sixers general manager Elton Brand on here. What a time. That'd be so cool to go to. What was the dunk contest that year? Now I need to know everything.
The dunk contest.
Did you go to just the game or all the shit?
So they had this shout out to my uncle. My uncle found through somebody that he worked with that they were hiring people to volunteer as like attendance at the fan expo.
Yeah.
So I actually worked at the fan expo for 2 days that weekend. So like that Friday and that Saturday, that Friday night, like right after school, and then that like all day that Saturday, I got to hang out at like the convention center for the expo that they had. And I was with a group that we did like semi crowd control while Shaq shot a commercial, right?
Oh man.
Shaq shot a commercial with this group of kids. I forget how they picked the kids, but the kids got chose and Shaq was going to do a All-Star Weekend commercial with him. I to this day, and I've seen Joel Embiid in person. I've never seen a human as big as Shaq. I cannot even describe to you how large a man he actually is. And like, if you obviously you've seen Joel up close.
Yeah.
But Shaq literally is to this day the biggest person I've ever seen in my entire life. Like he is just massive. It's incredible to see how and sometimes they will put a 6'6" dude on him, expect him to do anything. Like it's incredible.
The rookie sophomore game this year, rookie squad. I don't know what the specific starting lineup is, but my starting lineup out of this crew is pretty legit. Tony Parker, Jay Rich, who won this dunk contest here, Jason Richardson.
Jason Rich, yep.
Andre Karolinko, who was a favorite of mine as a kid. Shane Battier and Pau Gasol. That's pretty fucking legit. It was a really bad sophomore class. It's Kenyon Martin, Darius Miles, Mike Miller, Q Rich, Shrew Miles Swift, Hito. It's pretty rough, that group. But I mean, you have definitely one Hall of Famer in Gasol. Well, two Parker because you count all the international shit. Maybe Karolinko, no, but really good player. Joe Johnson, no, but I think he made 7 or 8 All-Star teams.
That's legit.
That's a good squad. I mean, what's the best has to be like the 2014. Like I don't even know how long the rookie sophomore game is. I don't know if there was like in '97 they did one for the '96 class with like Kobe and AI and all them. But yeah, the 2004 rookie sophomore game was basically just the 2008 Olympic team with Melo, LeBron,
Wade.
That'd be so cool to go to. And even we're not the biggest hockey guys in the world, but just having all that fan. Oh my God, I'd love to go. It would be so cool. And just kind of the festiveness, like the festive stuff around there.
Yeah.
You know, you're going to just see like you're going to be with Greg Anthony at Xfinity Live.
Yeah. You're right.
Ernie Johnson riding the mechanical bull in the PBR bar at Xfinity Live.
EJ going to church and then coming in the next day and riding a mechanical bull.
There was this one tweet a couple of months ago. It was like white guy hanging out with all his black friends. I'm kind of the Ernie Johnson of the group, aren't I? Did you see that?
My brother's the same way. My brother and his friend group, they have an EJ.
Yeah, they have
every time they watch like NBA on TNT. He's like, yeah, I'm kind of the happy to be the EJ of the group. He brings the topics back. I bring the group back to the topics.
So Tuesday night, we're getting recording this Wednesday. Ben Simmons Nets come back. It's on NBA on TNT. I was there, so I didn't hear the commentary or the pre and post game show in the halftime show with Inside the NBA. What were they saying? Let's get some takes on the commentary. Obviously, we all watched the game and know Ben played. Well, Ben gave the most Ben stat line ever. What was it, like 10-8 and
it 10, was a very
Ben classic.
I know some people wanted to bet the over that, because some folks started, no Joe, no Maxey or Harden, he would go off. They forgot the Paul Reed effect.
19-10 for our guy.
19-10. His best game as an NBA player.
It's not even close, I don't think.
I'm so happy for him. I'm extremely happy for him. Like, he's a guy who generally earns it. Like, he's not like some dudes we just by happenstance, latch on to, but he earned every bit of that 19-10. I'm very happy for him. He's a guy that should be playing more. I hope that this was.
You have to start him at night.
Have to.
You have to start.
Has to.
Yeah.
And so the commentary was a lot of Simmons is locked in. They didn't really talk. They talked less about his previous tenure and more about what he looks like now and kind of like just like the Nets and whole. Just I feel like Candace Parker is terrific, man. Candace Parker,
oh yeah,
she is terrific. I think she talked a lot about one about the effort from the semi-process Sixers, how she was impressed by it, and two, kind of just they gave good insight on bricking for chicken, which I thought was hilarious, like as to why people were, aside from the fact that they hate Simmons, but the fact that what they got for him missing 2 free throws. So I thought for once that it was pretty cool. I also thought that
did you see the Chick-fil-A app today? Yeah. Or obviously, like I downloaded it to double check it. So if you hadn't seen it out there, Ben Simmons breaking for chicken, you win 5 free Chick-fil-A nuggets. And if you go into the app in My Reward, it says Ben's miss is your game.
It was
with an exclamation point. The exclamation point is that's the equivalent of the Jordan shrug he did last night after making his first 2 free throws in the first quarter.
And so another funny thing, I like to listen to Shaq and Chuck after, well, in general, like after a win. But Chuck was saying that by right, this should have been a 20-point loss. Like before the game, he was like, "This will be a 20-point loss, and it won't be the Sixers' fault. They're just outmanned and out talented." And then after the game, he was like, "This is why I say the Nets are very soft." He's like, "This is like Kenny always says that hard work or playing hard gets you like 40. Playing hard gets you 41 wins." And he was like, the Sixers just play harder. The Nets are soft. I mean, I think that the normal basketball mind said that coming in that the Nets are. I'm
Sure.
not traded. This is 4 years ago. We were afraid of the Nets. Now you're kind of apathetic.
Yeah.
They're soft. They don't put any fear in anybody's heart. Like no disrespect to KD. I mean I see why KD wanted to get traded because he saw the same thing that we're all seeing. They're just they don't have it. Kyrie is not who he used to be. On or off the court.
I was at his press conference last night, and
Yeah.
he has the microphone in his hands, and it's a makeshift press conference. It's the visitors.
Oh right. Okay. Yeah.
So he's at this little table, and as you can see, more like reporters will put their phone up there to listen to it and record it, which I don't do. He's speaking to a microphone. I can hear it wherever I'm at in the room. That's a different thing.
Yeah.
And his mic gets this weird feedback, making that like very uncomfortable, like equivalent to nails. And he said, "Is that because all the cell phones are here?" And like I think it was an innocuous comment, but it came because it was him. It was like it felt like one of those cell phones give you cancer. It felt like that type of comment, him saying that. I will say, and I think I've talked about this before, that I don't really get starstruck with any of the players. It's like a job for me, and I'm used to this. Yeah. But man, and during warmups, KD is warming up in front of me. That's the first time I had seen him this close in person.
I mean, you mentioned that before. That like
Jason Peters on my first Eagles practice was in 2014. Is the only other time, and I was like, wow, this guy is a top 5 scorer of all time. Just doing turnarounds and fadeaways in front of me, and then
he's so good, man.
Then you have Ben, missing 4-footers too during warm-ups.
He's terribly good. Like I think that
he's the most real hooper ever.
There was it might have been Chuck or somebody, or it was definitely on the TNT set. Not last night, but earlier weeks in the season. People mentioned how the Nets, Brooklyn may have tainted his legacy more than him going to the Warriors.
Yeah.
I am one of those people who believes that I think the damage was done when he went to the Warriors, so he should have just stayed there.
His reputation would be better, I think, if he ended up more so a Barkley Malone type who never won a ring than whatever the fuck he has transpired to over the last half dozen years.
Like he doesn't even like it's fun. Like I get, listen, chase your rings. I get it, but like you there should have been a plan for after the Warriors. Like the Warriors, you went to the Warriors and they didn't even see you as a part of the team. You were a mercenary. Like Draymond literally said, like Draymond told you that. Draymond was like, we never needed you. Blah blah blah. Like, regardless of what happened when he called you crying in the parking lot and all that other shit. Like
that's hilarious. That's
it's a hilarious story. I know that he said it wasn't true, and people close to them said that the truth is actually in the middle of that. Like I do think that he maybe he wasn't crying, but I think maybe he did like send a text or like a voicemail to KD saying, "Yo, like
we can't beat him without you."
Yo, like we can't. Why not do this together?
Yeah,
type shit. Which I think is also weird. Like that's super. That's like that's like JoJo going into the parking lot and calling him saying, "Yo, we can't. Like, I can't beat Giannis without you." Type shit. Like I think that there's got to be you got to map it out. Just like same way you would tell someone map out your career. Like map out what the rest of your NBA life is going to look like. Like if you just said you never said I'm going to retire a Warrior. You were just like, I'm here to, I'm joining the team. This is where the next step of my career is taking me. But like after that, it wasn't like I'm here, I'm locked in, I'm a retired Warrior. We're going to win 4 more championships. Like there was none of that. I think that when he hurt his calf, I mean when he tore his Achilles, obviously that was the start of like the next couple of years where he was just trying to figure out where life was going to take him, which is where I honestly think the Nets move came in. Like, I think that, him being hurt and wanting to feel like he was, part of something bigger, blah, 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 kind of went into that. Like him and Kyrie at the time were very close. Like I do know that their relationship now has definitely taken a strain, with all the shit that's happened, and the fact that Harden came and went. Like honestly, Harden looks like the most sane person out of those three. Like,
Yeah, it wasn't not a high bar to clear, but he
right,
somehow has done it.
which is like the ground is literally hell, but like still like the idea now of like that whole thing happening the whole time people saying Harden's the one that's tanking the entire ship. Now you look back at it like maybe he saw that shit from the start. Like maybe from the start he was like, yeah, I can't fuck with this. Like I can't. Like I'm just here to ball, but there's some other shit going on. Like he does strike me as the kind of guy who um, does like just want to play. Like, and that's cool too. Like there's not enough guys who would rather just be on a really good team as opposed to all the shit that goes into locker room leadership, blah blah blah. Like that, a lot of that stuff is noise because at the end of the day, you're not good enough. You're not good enough.
Yeah. Where do you think he's playing next year? I don't know how. He just feels like he ends up in Miami at some point in his career.
I think that if Russ doesn't end up in Miami, I think that he would. I honestly don't know. I think Miami's so weird because Pat Riley is so volatile. Like Pat Riley will trade Jimmy today. Like that. Like
yeah.
He wants to win so much. I think that I think that there is certainly a opportunity there where he's in Miami, which would suck. I don't want to see him in the East. I'd rather him go to the Clippers or something if they feel like it's not working with Kawhi.
Talk about a team that is just somehow that team has worse energy than the Sixers over the last.
They do have worse energy.
I remember before the season, and I don't follow the NBA nationally as much as I did with job situations now. But before the season, I was watching one of the TNT pregame shows before like the Sixers played the Celtics or the Bucks, whatever it was, and I thought people were picking them to win the championship of the West. And I'm like, I get it's it's pretty wide open relative to the way historically the NBA has been.
Yeah,
and I'm like, they don't what they are just the least cohesive unit possible. They are Nets West, Eagles West, or sorry, Sixers West, whatever you want to say.
Well, I think that there was I think I was listening to, I forget what pod it was now. It might have been Zach Lowe, but there was the same sentiment. Like people were picking the Clippers to win, to outright win the West, but we haven't even seen them at full strength yet. Like
is it year 3?
Yeah,
it's year 3. Okay, and then Kawhi, a guy who ducks all sort of criticism. I get he has 2 very legitimate Finals MVP awards, but KD has 2, though they're far less legitimate. But I think he gets a big pass in a way that
Kawhi's been very high on those 2 MVP awards because
the one was just he guarded LeBron award in 2014. 2019, he had maybe the best playoff run I've seen. And I'm thinking just being really young, like 2000 Shaq.
One of the top 2 in history, for sure.
2011 Dirk. And I'm talking, and then there's guys where Wade in 2006 had an unbelievable finals, but from the first, he was playing like Jordan against the Sixers in 2019.
I think that was, probably for me one of the top 5 playoff performances, easily too, like pretty easily.
Post Jordan era,
post MJ, I would say top 5 run. I think the LeBron Cavs run, championship run, that's definitely up there. Kawhi's run. I think Tim Duncan has a run or 2 in there.
In 03 he clinches against the Nets with a near quadruple double, right?
Yep.
It's like 20, 12, 10, and 9 or something like that.
Yeah. I would also say that, I would probably round it out with Shaq. I think that we get so jaded by like Shaq being so big, but like we don't like the dominance should still account for, like we should still account for the dominance because there's a lot of big guys in the league who fucking suck. But the way that he is going, and like he is his a couple of his Laker runs were just absolutely incredible. The one, the iconic video of him catching the alley oop from the one hand alley oop from Kobe against
That's such a
the
sick play.
Blazers, and he's pointing up in the stands to his son, which we now know is his son. Now he told us that he was when after he recorded, people thought he was just pointing in the stands, but he said it his son was standing up and he was pointing to his son, which is like that's some really cool shit. But that run, particularly,
I'm looking to see if anyone has won. How many people have won 3 straight Finals MVPs like Shaq did 2000, 2001, 2003? Jordan did it twice.
Yeah, I would say
91, 93, and then 96, 98.
For all six rings, MJ did it.
No one ever. Like there was, in that 80s era, like IT and Joe Dumars split. Magic and Bird were changing years. James Worthy grabbed one, Kareem grabbed one, Cedric Maxwell grabbed one.
Yeah.
And it hasn't been around like insanely long. It's from 1969 on. Oh my God, it's the first. So we all know the Jerry West winning Finals MVP when they lost story, which is hilarious. But that was the first Finals MVP award. Makes it funnier too. So we have that's it. LeBron won back-to-back once. Durant won back-to-back. Kobe won back-to-back 2009, 2009, 2010. Hakeem won back-to-back 94, 95. That's really it. So I think Shaq, this isn't even the point, but Shaq, the thing where he's just so big, it doesn't matter. And then it's like, okay, well, being big is part of basketball. It's like when people would say, if LeBron was 6'5", he wouldn't be as good.
Yeah,
no shit. If I was 6'8", I'd be a lot better at basketball.
I'd be a lot great. Like, come on, man. Like that's the stupid shit that people talk about.
What do you think about the Birds? Switching gears.
I think Jalen Hurts is the MVP of this NFL season. I think
that's a gutsy ass win, man.
Man, the guy, he is a grown ass man, and that was a ballsy win. I'm very happy for him, very proud of him, man. I don't. They'll talk money in the off season, but I know that he's gonna get paid. He deserves it. They're not
going to let him go through that last year on that contract that I think is $1.33 million. They'll restructure it in a way where they're not getting crushed next year cap wise, but they're not letting him play out that, nor should they. They didn't do it with Wentz, and barring some sort of injury, we're expecting at least one playoff win. I think we could say that Hurts' 2021 has been relatively analogous to Wentz's 2017, and then there's the hope that he actually plays and performs well in the playoffs. Compared to Wentz's, season-ending injuries 3 straight years. So I think there's no doubt he gets paid. It's how much is it? Is Lamar getting his contract first, and is that resetting the market? Is this happening? Is this happening? Right. Yeah, I don't think there's any question that they're going to pay him. And
I think that
what a difference 2.5 years makes, man.
And it's funny because you look at it and you're like, holy shit! One, this year's quarterback crop is nothing compared to what next year's going to look like.
Yeah,
we talked about it because I think there's a ton of questions about CJ Stroud, ton of questions about Bryce Young, and honestly, if you don't have to answer it by like not having to entertain it, that having your guy in house takes away 99% of the pressure.
Oh yeah,
part of it is you have the number 4 pick in the draft now, so you can literally decide if you want to use that and go get one of the Georgia defensive linemen, or if you want to trade down to 15 and
I'm team trade down for them. Yeah. Just let's stockpile.
If my guy isn't there, like honestly, again, like I'd sooner take
if you get Jalen Carter, Will Anderson, I think
Eagles fans if I can get that, right? If Will Anderson and Jalen Carter are there, those are only 2 I'm keeping for.
Yeah. I like that. Yeah.
One of the 2, 1,000%. Other than that, I'm team trade down. And I stockpile for next year, and I also I'd probably go get my running back at that time. If I can get a high second or high third, I go get my running back.
I think a day 2 running back is a must.
Yeah, I think a day 2 running back is your priority. Probably, it's time to start looking at strong safety.
Yes.
So I'm looking day 2 priorities as running back, safety. You probably want to build up that linebacker room a little more. Because conceivably next year you turn the show over to Nakobe Dean.
Yeah.
So you want
Weird he hasn't really seen the field at all, right?
So
what's your take on that?
Honestly, I would hate to think that it's him not being able to pick up the scheme because we haven't heard anything about him being hurt.
You think it's NFL body ready? I'm thinking it's more that than
that's what I'm saying. I
scheme.
like we haven't heard about him being hurt. We know that I'm 80% sure it's not a the guy's dumb type thing. I just think like you said, I think that it might be something where they're like, why don't we just give you a red shirt year and let you get get that body NFL ready like he did. He did have the pec issue. Maybe the pec's been bothering him and they're just keeping chill about it, because they can.
He's played 70 or 80% of this special team snap, but he's only played 4 defensive snaps this year.
Right, which is crazy. Like that linebacker, the core is the core, but like nobody on that linebacking core has I would say warranted 90% of the snaps. So you got
I think TJ's been really good.
TJ's been I like TJ. I think that they have some questions there. I do think that Nakobe can help. I think that he's like, why wouldn't you have one of your best players there? I think he is one of their best run stoppers as a linebacker. So I'm interested to see what happens. I'm interested to see what their view of it is.
TJ, man, I think he reminds me of Michael Kendricks, and mean that as a positive way, where Michael Kendrick was a 2nd round pick. They're getting that little production out of an undrafted rookie free agent from a couple years ago that they developed in house. And Kendricks, insider trading stuff, a little weird stuff.
Insider trading aside,
I think he had some understated off the field stuff during his time in Philadelphia that not necessarily public knowledge, but was pretty good on that Super Bowl year, I will say. And I think TJ Edwards is replicating that level of performance. And when you take in consideration the draft pick investment as opposed to a guy who just signed undrafted rookie free agent, resounding success for the front office and bringing him
in. I think that we'll be interested to see how he shakes out. I think that he can be a tremendous help to this team. I know it feels like they have a wealth of riches right now, but the Linval Josephs and Dominican Shoes of the world they're just stopgaps. They're not 10-year guys, so you do have to start looking at what the next wave of this defense looks like. JD will be back. I think they said before the season ends, which is perfect.
Need him, man. I mean, props to Linval and Sue, but they need JD.
They need him. I know that Chris Long mentioned it. Chris Long's foresaw the Dominican Sue signing, but he also was like, Jordan. Not every team has a Jordan Davis, and we're seeing that. Not every team has a Jordan Davis right now.
No one has a Jordan Davis.
No one has a Jordan Davis, and the team that normally has him needs him badly, especially you get to. I'm thinking. Listen, all I'm thinking about right now is you're probably most likely gonna have to face Tony Pollard 2 more times before you even get to San Francisco, and then you got to place fucking Debo and Jordan and Christian
CMC. Yeah,
you're gonna need him, and you're gonna need Nakobe Dean too. You're gonna need all those guys to show their worth. You already know what you have with JD. You're gonna need him to to be exactly what he is up front. So those linebackers that we just talked about can run free. You're gonna need your secondary healthy. Need your CD Deuces of the world to lock in. That's all I'm thinking about. I one, staying healthy, and 2, getting ready for what the second wave of the new Cowboys are gonna throw at you, and what a potential Niner matchup looks like.
Can you imagine them playing Dallas in the playoffs in Philly?
No. I think that we thought it was crazy when we clinched the Padres series here.
Yeah.
If they knock the Cowboys out the playoffs
and the NFC Championship to go to the Super Bowl, that would be one of the greatest days in the history of Philadelphia.
I actually think crime would be legal that day. I know we talked about it before. There actually might be a decree that crime is legal if that's how this shit shakes out.
They've played Dallas in the playoffs 4 times. They are 1-3 of those games, and all 3 losses came in Dallas, and the one win, obviously the iconic 1980 NFC Championship game, Wilbur Montgomery's run, that was in Philadelphia. So
yeah, that was
man, that would be the juiciest game in Eagles history in terms of games in Philadelphia. Obviously, Super Bowls are Super Bowls.
Yes,
But
yes,
man.
I would be interested to see. One, it's very interesting that they're hated rivals have only played in the playoffs a couple of times. It's like Duke and North Carolina. Duke and North Carolina haven't played in the NCAA tournament like that many times either.
Yeah, or like the Sox and the Yankees when we were kids, always playing each other in the playoffs.
Always playing each other, yeah. So I'm interested to see just how things shake out. I do know that obviously the flavor of the month is Dallas right now. They've earned some of it. They fucking throttled the Vikings on Sunday. And they're getting.
I wanted to watch a nice game. Obviously, there's rooting interest. There's no clear rooting interest for Philadelphia and the Eagles because you could say it different ways. The Vikings lose better for the NFC number 1 seed. Cowboys losing is better because it's the Cowboys losing, and also the NFC East race isn't necessarily wrapped at this point by any means.
But yeah,
I wanted to be entertained at least. That was nothing. By the time I got done work after the Eagles game, the game was over.
They look shell shocked too. Like the Vikings look like they weren't expecting the Cowboys to come in and punch them in the mouth. Which is, if you're a Vikings fan, it's
they are the most punched in the mouth team in the NFL.
Literally, it's funny to be. It's funny to be the on one hand the most punched in the mouth team, on the other hand the barometer for if you're a good team or not. Like, oh, did you beat the Vikings though? Oh, they beat the Vikings. You got to beat the Vikings apparently, but you can also just punch the Vikings in the mouth because that's what kind of team they are. Then next week they'll go out and win by 4 touchdowns. They're just a fucking weird anomaly like that.
Oh man, I miss God. They're gonna miss Goddard. I wrote about that today on Philly Voice.
You already saw it. No offense to our brother in Christ.
That's what I said. Those guys have roles. Jack Stoll is a really nice tight end 2 run first blocking guy. Grant Calcaterra, 6th round rookie, can't expect a lot, but there's upside as a pass catcher.
Yeah.
Tyree Jackson, developmental tight end. They think he has that build. He has the athleticism. We saw him score a touchdown in week 18 last year against the Cowboys. There's true talent there, and they're trying to harness that come 2023 and 2024. None of those guys are equipped to be a tight end 1 on a team with legitimate championship aspirations. That says more about the hole that Goddard leaves rather than anything about those guys specifically.
Yeah, it speaks more to the Goddard loss and how important he is. 1, to the offense in general, and 2, especially to Jalen, and 3, obviously, just how much we don't know about the guys behind Goddard. So we're gonna find out a lot these next couple of weeks, surely. But hopefully they can stop the sieve for a sec.
I'd run more 4 wide receiver sets, and they didn't really do that because you have a really nice core with the 4 with AJ, Devontae, Zach Pascal, and Quez. I'm not necessarily sure it's the best top 4 in the league, but it's a really, really damn good core.
You know what? It's a 4.
You minimize the issues that come in with those tight ends. You have Jack Stoll out there playing 81% of the snaps. You're inherently you're either having an extra blocker in there, so you have one less weapon out there, or the guy's running routes and there's shit chance he's getting the ball. He had the tight ends, 3 tight ends had 1 target, 1 catch for 7 yards. That was Stoll. And Calcaterra had a holding penalty as a guy who's not known for his run blocking ability in the slightest. Get hold on Miles Sanders' first down on 3rd and 2, backs them up. Don't get it. They punt. That's the first possession of the game. The Eagles' passing offense looked good. They had a really nice first offensive play from scrimmage. They had a really nice pitch and catch from Jalen to AJ. And you thought maybe they were going to cruise down the field and tie it up right there. You could play the butterfly effect, what if game, whatever. But little things like that don't happen when Goddard's out there.
Yeah. No, and so we'll see. Man. I think that they will. This might be an opportunity for Zach Pascal. He's a guy I like. He scored. I think it was in the Steelers game. He had a good game. I think that he's a guy they trust. Obviously, I would love to see I'm definitely an air raid kind of guy, so I would love to see a 4 or 5 wide receiver set and just let Jalen
I think
be
that opens up Jalen's running ability too. You saw some real effectiveness with the QB draws, something that the team really hasn't done since Vic, and obviously Vic's Vic. But I think it's something that you don't necessarily want to do too much in the regular season against these random teams. But if there's these high leverage situations where you're playing Dallas on Christmas or these Giants games prove really meaningful in the NFC East race, you have to let Jalen be Jalen, so to speak.
Yeah, I mean, and I think that's the other part of it is Jalen was our leading rusher on Sunday. Like
that was the first game he's really rushed since week 1.
Yeah, and so I don't know, man. I think that um, it won't be figured out this season, but if he's going to continue to be our leading rusher as we get deeper into these cold weather and playoff months, you gotta help him out somewhere else, and obviously it starts with spreading that defense out. Force the defense in the 3 and 4 4-man sets. Get a 5 wide receiver going. Let's see what happens.
What do you think about Sunday?
Rodgers
isn't Rodgers, but Rodgers has played the Eagles fairly well.
He always plays the Eagles well. I think that they got that loss out the way, and I think we all had this pegged as a potential.
I thought this was they go 10-1 in this game, and Rodgers does some magic bullshit or whatever.
So I actually think that I think it's going to be close, but I think that this may be a good offensive game. I think the offense.
They have a poor run defense, Green Bay. I think they're 25th in yards allowed.
25th. I think they I forget what it was, but their run defense is porous. This should be a good Miles game, and definitely a good Jalen game for using his feet. So I think maybe like a 24-13 is plausible, like a 20-10. I know Rodgers is definitely Rodgers, and he always is a thorn in our asses, but I'm not quite sure he trusts his current receiving core as much as he trusts them normally.
Yeah.
So I'm anxious to see what he looks like there. He's going to do one or two things that piss us off because he always does. I mean, he's a Hall of Famer. But I think the 24-13 is where I'm sitting at.
I think there's a formula for the Packers that, it's a cliche. Oh, the book's out on how to beat the Eagles. But with their running game, with Aaron Jones, one of the game's best, A.J. Dillon, the best RB2 out there, maybe.
Yo, for sure. Yeah.
There's a plan where they're not relying on Rodgers unless you're getting in those third down situations where he makes something out of nothing like he's done for almost 2 decades now.
Right.
But I think there's a element there where they can control the clock, keep the Eagles offense off the field, keep the Eagles from having those big chunk plays, those explosive plays that they had for the middle chunk of this season so far. So it'll be up to, again, it's weird that you're a team with legitimate Super Bowl aspirations and you have 2 30-year-old defensive tackles off the street who may be the most deciding factors in whether if you win or lose in 2 straight games.
And so I think that their recipe is probably I'm going to sound weird saying this, but their recipe is probably going to be keeping the ball out of Rodgers' hands.
Yeah, it's weird, but that's their best bet because that's what worked for them when they beat Dallas at home. And obviously, Dallas is Dallas. It's fun to hate them, but they're a top 5 team in the league.
And so that'll be. We'll see. We'll see what happens. It's supposed to be messy at least for part of Sunday too. So I think that's probably honestly going to be their best bet. Like if they keep the ball out of Rodgers' hands, they probably stay in the game for way longer than they should.
Oh, is Sunday going to be rainy?
I think it was 70% chance. It's going to be cold, but I think we got.
Oh no, that's terrible. I know. Walking with this in a sport coat to the City Pigeons tailgate.
Yeah.
Shout out to the City Pigeons, girl.
My sources, shout out to City Pigeons. My sources told me that this is rain or shine for them. So
good.
Shout out should be. Yeah, it absolutely should be. It makes it even more fun. So shout out to our guys, and good luck at Sunday's tailgate.
I've gone to both of them. There's not gone and truly tailgated, but
Yeah,
stopping
yeah,
by
yeah.
before I go into the link in the press box. Decent crew each time. Good
Yeah.
guys. Good guys in the community.
Yeah, they bring great guys in the community. They bring a good crowd out. Uncle Meech always has very, very, very funny commentary. They're definitely and they bring the food, man. If you're hungry, they know how
Dude,
to serve
I'm a
you.
Fed Nuts
Yeah.
Lloyd too.
Shout out to their spread. They definitely know how to feed the masses.
Yeah. We got Thanksgiving tomorrow. What's your favorite side dish?
It's a tie, but if I had to pick one, definitely mac and cheese. Baked mac and cheese, followed closely by sweet potatoes.
Yeah, I'm a sweet potato guy.
Yeah, I love sweet potatoes.
Whether it's kind of mashed or just the cut up or whatever, I'll eat sweet potato anything.
Yeah, I don't eat mac and cheese all year round, but I definitely can eat sweet potatoes all year round. Like
I could eat sweet potatoes every day.
Yeah, so maybe sweet potatoes number one for me. But I definitely all year round easily sweet potatoes.
What's your go-to dessert?
So we have my mom makes sweet potato pie, which I absolutely adore. And my dad loves pecan, so she'll also make a pecan pie. So I would probably say though, I like a nice sweet potato pie, sometimes with whipped cream, sometimes vanilla ice cream, but overall, sweet potato pie, vanilla ice cream is probably getting it done.
Yeah, I like an apple pie, throw it in the microwave for 20 seconds.
Warm that bad boy up.
Scoop of vanilla ice cream on top is probably my move. Also, a few Mad Elfs and some Crown Vanilla, too. Not all at once, but...
Nice and comatose.
Yes. I'm not making that Vikings-Patriots game for sure.
No, I'm not making Vikings Pats. I'll fall asleep tomorrow night, wake up just in time for Ohio State and Michigan on Saturday.
What time is that, noon?
That's a noon game, yeah.
Oh man, I'm off Saturday too.
I love the other great part of this weekend is the fact that it's become rivalry weekend for college football too. I love and just like in every sport, it's even better that there's national championship implications for this Ohio State Michigan game. Whoever wins this game has a clear route to at least one of the top two seeds in the college football playoff. So a ton of intrigue. These fucking teams already hate each other.
We have 5 ranked games on Friday too.
Yeah, it's a good spread, man. College football did well this year. There's some good shit happening Friday and Saturday.
Got an Oregon State game.
Civil War. Yep.
Notre Dame USC.
That'll be fun. Notre Dame. That'd be fun. I actually picked this as one of the games where Notre Dame kind of stake their claim as being at least somewhat back. So we'll see though.
I like Marcus as coach.
I do. I like him a lot. I think he's going to do well there. He's got a good recruiting class too. I think he's got a top 5 class next year. So he's building the cupboard up.
What's your Ohio State Michigan pick? The line is OSU at home -7.5, 11-0 versus 11-0, 2 versus 3.
I like Ohio State by a touchdown.
So you have them you have Michigan covering?
I think Michigan's going to cover. I think Ohio State. I don't know if it'll be last second. That's kind of anticlimactic. And they did that last year, but I think a touchdown will do it for Ohio State. I just think that that Ohio State offense, man. Aside from our guy, they are. Speaking of air raid, they run. They fucking sling it, and it's a lot of fun, man. CJ Stroud he's good. I don't know. We'll talk NFL another time. I mean, we both know our hangups with him as an NFL quarterback, but in terms of what he means to this team and this offense, man, he gets that ball down the field, and they are tough to beat when they're playing like that. So I have more faith. Put it that way. I have more faith in that offense than I do in the Michigan defense.
I like it. I always like ending with some college plays.
Yeah, I love that.
All right, that's it from me. Bro, you have anything to plug? Me, check out phillyvoice.com. Wednesday, I had an article go up about Dallas Goedert's absence. Some good info on there on the game's one of the most underrated offensive weapons in the entire game. I think he was on his way to a second-team All-Pro berth, and I think it was getting close to a lock. I think Mark Andrews will get on now. Obviously, Kelsey's Kelsey. He's could end up the GOAT tight end for sure. If there was a stat, he's already compared. He's played as many games as Gronk did his whole career. Like, I don't think it's quite at that level, but he's played so much. Already, and he's just getting better and better. I think we were in a world where you might have to give Offensive Player of the Year to a tight end, which I can't imagine has ever happened before.
Yes.
So we have that going on there. We'll have stuff I guess I won't have stuff because Thursday, I'm working tomorrow, Thursday, Thanksgiving, but it won't really be anything, just kind of monitoring stuff. I'm off Friday, Saturday.
Yeah.
I'm going to watch the USA England game out at some bar, have some fun, wear my USA hockey jersey for that, get in the vibes and fun. So, yeah. Should be fun.
RiceyRickySanchez.com/
Hell yeah.
Twitter. We got a ton of shit going up. Shout out to Michael Connor. He's back. Writing some good stuff about us. Everybody's on cloud nine thanks to an amazing, B-ball Paul game and a nice little push from the semi-process Sixers. So a lot of good shit happening there. And then, yeah, man, just getting ready for what the next couple of weeks look like, with or without the big three.
Oh, I'm amped. Good sports season right now.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Sure to subscribe, Spotify, Apple Music, Apple Podcasts. We are now on YouTube too, doing some StreamYard stuff. We won't have a video up on Instagram for this specific video just because there's a lot going on today. In the future, we'll be posting some more video content on our Instagram page. So be sure to follow us on there, broad_n_forever.
Yep.
Let's go. Let's ride.